Hey, it's Viviana and welcome back to my photo channel. In this video, I will be making lumen prints. So if this is your first time here, I'm a film photographer. I love making silver gelatin prints in my darkroom, but I experimented with lumen prints all last week and it had to do with cleaning out my darkroom. So my previous video was just about that. I had many boxes of just junk pretty much, and I had no idea after so many years what was in those boxes. So I cleaned it out and my darkroom does feel much better, but I still had to address the many boxes of expired photo paper. So I remembered about lumen prints and I'm super thrilled with how they turned out. And in this video, I want to bring you guys along with making lumen prints and give you guys tips along the way and talk about maybe a future photo project. So I'm really excited about that. And if you've been here before, thank you so much for joining me once again in my photo journey. And I'm super thrilled to share these photographs with you guys. I love how they turned out. I used only expired photo paper, both fiber-based and RC. I used flowers, and I also used DAS transfer film, which I normally use for my transfer lifts, which is another project that I do when working with alternative process photography. And if you want to learn more about that, I have other videos about just transfer lifts. But it was really fun incorporating that with lumens as well. So in the next couple of clips, I will bring you guys to my mom's garden and to my garden where I'll be collecting flowers, because I feel like flowers are ideal for making lumen prints, and that's just where you get the beauty, the glow, the dreaminess. You achieve that with flowers. So the materials are very few that you need, and I will list them down below, write it down in the description, and also more like instructions on how to make lumen prints, because in the video, more than anything, I'm just bringing you guys along for the process and sharing tips along the way. And I hope you enjoy it. I hope this video is useful and that it inspires you guys to use up your old expired photo paper and just to experiment. This was a really great excuse for me to be outside, to enjoy the sunlight, because I tend to just stay indoors, either in my home or in my darkroom. So this activity, it involves the sunlight and being outside for a bit. Welcome back in my darkroom. So yes, these are the many boxes of expired photo paper that are just in the way, and I'm so sick of looking at them because I just feel like it's wasted space. And instead of throwing them in the garbage, I decided maybe I could salvage some of them. And that's when I remembered about lumen prints. And the first time I made them was years ago, back in college in my alternative process photography course. And I remember that they were just so beautiful, dreamy-like, fun to make, and really easy. But after many days of making lumen prints, I realized that they were actually pretty challenging, but very rewarding and worth it. So in this video, I want to share with you guys the process and share some tips along the way, and hopefully encourage you guys to try making lumen prints. And since it had been more than a decade since I last made lumen prints, I had to learn how to make them all over again. So I did watch many YouTube videos. There are many great tutorials out there. And this next part of composing an interesting photo using the flowers, it was really challenging doing this in the darkroom under the safe lights. But this is just the way I did it. I saw other photographers doing it under regular lighting and others also doing it in their darkroom this way. But I just wanted to warn you, it is a little challenging, but as you keep making them, you get more comfortable with what you're using and the setup that you have. So it did get easier throughout the days making lumen prints. And I used a variety of different flowers, dry and fresh. I also used different paper, RC and fiber-based. And I also expose them to direct sunlight for different amount of time. So in this next clip, I want to share with you guys the results that I got, and I hope you like them. And then I will chat again in just a bit and compare results.
Open air, side by side we sway there in all the colors. Summer love, lonesome dove, folded on the lawn chair in all the colors. Summer love, remember when we were getting nowhere fast, when the garden won't stop giving back. Honeysuckle, fresh cut grass, I could really use some stuff like that.
I mean, how can you not fall in love with making lumen prints? These colors are intense and I love them so much. These purple and pink hues I was getting, I was madly in love. But I'm so sad to tell you that they actually change once they're in the fixer. So once you're really happy with the amount of time that you exposed your lumen prints, you should wash them with water before you put them in the fixer. Now, this is something that I kept forgetting to do, so I want to share that with you. Please don't forget to wash them before putting them in the fixer. Now, once they're in the fixer, they're there for about 2 to 5 minutes, and yeah, you'll see how they transform to something totally different. I still think that they're very dreamy and wonderful, but I do miss the drastic colors that I lost. So once I felt confident with the process and kind of after days of experimenting, I decided to go all out and use fiber-based paper, but also use this DAS transfer film. I've never used transfer film for lumen prints, and I am so in love with it. I normally use this DAS transfer film for when I make my transfer lifts, which is a photo project that I really love making, and it's outside of the darkroom. It's really cool. And if it's very new to you and you want to learn more, I do have some videos on transfer lifts, so hopefully you can check them out. And this is a self-portrait that I shot with my Rolleiflex T a couple years ago, and I really love incorporating my photography with the lumen prints. I really look forward to making more this way, but definitely I know what I would change. And that has to do with the border of the image. I really don't like how it distracts. So I will be so much more purposeful on where I lay the flowers and the petals. Hopefully I can hide that border. And that way it just feels more harmonious and just not so distracting. And I think I can make something pretty cool. I'm really excited. So I want to share with you guys my favorite lumen prints, and I do have to say the first couple ones that I've made were kind of my most disappointed ones. I really had no idea how or what I was going to do to achieve an interesting composition, and it was really challenging actually. Because it's so different for me to do that. And this is something that I first made, I believe, and this was using dry roses. I didn't really like it all that much. Maybe I'll feel differently later on, like I always do with my with my photography. But the first couple ones that I did were not my favorite. Now, this was dry roses. I later on used fresh roses from my garden, and I loved how that looked. Now, both of this is the same paper, RC, same box of paper, but the difference is amazing. This is using fresh, and I believe it was fresh roses. It was a purple rose, but it turn out to be yellow, and I love it. Also, las bugambillas that I was using, I used both fresh and dry, and I love, 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 love both. Let me see if I can find, ooh. This is fresh bougainvillea. Actually, in this one, I'm using both. I wanted to have both. This is the dry and this is fresh. I love it so much. So it depends on what you're aiming for. I do encourage you to just play around with all the flowers that you have. I used laureles. My mom has many, many of them. It's this one right here. She gave me pink and white. And this is where I'm using the DAS transfer film. Let me show you what it is. So this is the DAS transfer film. I bought this off of I bought this from freestylephoto.com, and it still has a price. It was $76 with 49 cents, and it's 100 sheets. Now, I use this mainly for my transfer lifts, but I also use it for my lumens, and I feel like it turned out really well. Now, let me show you where I made these. Ooh. Now, I don't care if I'm touching it that much because these are just test prints. I'm not gonna sell them. I'm not really happy with them, and I'll tell you why. So, both of these are the same type of paper. It's fiber-based paper. I believe it was this one that I left for 45 minutes outside in direct sunlight. I believe it was like middle of the afternoon, so it was really harsh lighting. And it was only 45 minutes, and this is what I got. I think it's beautiful. Obviously, I loved more of how it looked before putting in the fixer. I loved those burgundy, pinks, red hues so much, which I kind of missed. Now this one here, I left out in the sunlight for almost three hours, and it has less coloring than this one. So like I said, it's just a lot of playing around with. I don't know. Like I mentioned in the video, I do not like these harsh lines. So what I'm going to do is place flowers around myself so you don't see those borders. And that's where this project's coming to mind. I'm thinking already of certain negatives that I feel like will be really great with this project. Maybe not so much photos that has like facial expression, maybe more like body imagery, not sure, I don't know. But that's something I want to play around with. I didn't want to commit to printing so many on my transfer film because it's expensive, and I just wanted, this is all a test run. And I think I'm really happy with how these turned out, that I'm going to have them in my Etsy shop. So my favorite photos from here, I think I'm just gonna pick like 10 and see how it goes. I'll put it in my Etsy shop, so they'll be up for sale when you're watching this video. And I'm going to see if some of these I can matte. I do have some leftover like pre-made matte boards, so I'm gonna see what I can use for that. They will be one of a kind, so they'll be signed and numbered. And I hope you guys like them. Maybe if it's if they're popular, I have many to put up on my shop. And now that I have kind of like an understanding of what I'm going for and how to achieve it, I'll make more lumens. So lastly, sorry. I was looking at other photographers, and this is something that I'm debating about. So if you have any tips on this, I really, really would appreciate it. So I saw other photographers that do sell lumen prints. From what I understood is that they took photos of their lumen prints before putting it in the fixer, so they have more of a dramatic feel to their photos, and then they print those images onto archival paper, and then that way they can sell more than one copy of that lumen print and also have those beautiful colors that you get before you put it in the fixer. So that's like an option I guess I could also do. But honestly, I feel more comfortable just selling one-of-a-kind lumens. And yeah, so I guess, I don't know. That's where I'm feeling, I don't know if I should keep doing it this way. Also, I feel like it makes it more special to have one-of-a-kind lumens and that it's made in the darkroom completely. Not sure. Maybe it's not that important, but I feel like it is. Who knows? And we are at the end of the video. Thank you so much for joining me once again for another photo project. I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope it inspired you to also make lumen prints. They're so much fun. And you don't just have to use flowers or use your photographs. You can do so much. I saw this other photographer using fruit, citric fruit. Like, that's so cool. Like, I mean, there's so much you can play around with, and that's awesome. So I hope you enjoyed this video, and if you liked the video, please do press like, and if you really, really like the video, please subscribe if you're not subscribed yet. So I will see you next time. Still not sure what I'll be making. Maybe I'll continue this photo project, playing around more with other negatives and framing a certain way. So I don't know. Or I have a lot of negatives I kind of want to make prints out of. So I'm very, very lucky that my weeks are planned this way, just creating for fun and sharing it with you guys. So I'm very, very, very grateful for that. And it's time to say goodbye. So until next time, thank you so much for being here with me, and I really, really appreciate it. So bye.